If you're new here, I'm recording myself every single day until I make $1 million cash in my bank account after taxes. Today I woke up around 7:15, got like 8 hours of sleep last night. Had a doctor's appointment all day, so I had to drive like 2 hours for an appointment I have to go see every like 2 years for some old health conditions I used to have that are happily, thankfully, gone now. But that kind of took up 6 or 7 hours of my day. I got home at about 4, went for a walk, and then started to take initiative to clean out my desktop because I would like to be more organized of a person and more structured, because that is something that I'm not. And so I went through all of my computer files, trashed all the things that were random and I didn't need anymore, and then categorized things that I did need. But that was what my day looked like. And so it wasn't super like big work day. It was more of a doctor's appointment, kind of get things done. But I have 3 doctor's appointments tomorrow, which is crazy. It's very front loaded with doctor's appointments. I'm on winter break from college and I'm home. And after tomorrow, I would like to actually get to work doing some like 8, 10, 12-hour days, because I feel like I'm getting behind a little bit and I feel like I should probably be working a little bit harder. But when health calls, I suppose. So some takeaways for today is more personal note, I suppose. I'm a very stubborn person, and I've been figuring out just how stubborn I am for a while, and I don't like when people tell me what I can and can't do or should and shouldn't do, which is great, because when I want something, I will make it happen because I don't want it any other way. But it's not great for the people around me, especially the people who love me, because I don't really listen to them, especially when they have my best interest in mind, and they also oftentimes have a more objective judgment of where I'm at than I do. But I find that a good middle ground is to keep the drive to do what you want to do and get it done and make it happen for yourself, because you don't want it any other way, but also allow for some objective input from the people around you that know you very, very well. That's just a more personal lesson. I'm not too sure if you can use that, but otherwise, something else that I think about is work-life balance, because a lot of the people around me tell me that I don't have a good work-life balance, or at least I need to learn to enjoy balancing life with work, because I'm restless when I'm resting, which is counterintuitive, but that I kind of work is all I really like, which it's this battle between people caring for me and not taking advice from people whose situation you don't want to be in. And I don't know anybody who is actively in the financial and I guess in the financial situation that I would want to be in, as well as the type of person who I want to be. I know a lot of people who are in good financial situations, like very good to society's terms, but not where I want to end up. And so I try to do my best to not take advice from people whose situation I wouldn't want to be in, because if I take their advice, I will be closer to their situation, which is counterintuitive also. And so I'm more likely to take financial advice from people who are financially well off than personal advice, because I find that we're each our own individuals. But back to what I was saying, to circle that back to everything, it's very hard to make room for people's opinions and actually listen to people who love you, while also trying not to take advice from those whose situations you wouldn't want to be in, because a lot of the time, at least in my case, the people around you may be very good people who you've chosen to be around and may love you dearly, but are not the people who you want to be. And so it's very hard to listen to them while also not listening to them, if that makes sense. So that's more of a personal, internal struggle. It's less of like business lessons for the day. But I suppose if we want to talk business on a less personal note, I'm trying to start going deep into becoming an expert. So the company I'm starting is Value First Consulting, doing YouTube branding consulting. So essentially just taking already established consulting businesses, consulting being coaching or any sort of high ticket information type of thing. So think a key to a lock, like giving the people the information that they need, whether it be a high ticket course, etc. And my main constraint right now is just the fact that I'm not an expert in this. So I'm trying to take already established businesses and help them grow by attracting clients instead of reaching out to them. And that's a lot of a bottleneck for people, is like paying more people to reach more people, to get more clients, to reach more people, to pay more people. And there's a point where you can't really pay much more and you have to transition to organic inbound. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. And the beautiful part about that business model is that I'm also going to use YouTube for getting inbound leads. And so by working for these people to get them more inbound leads, I'm making my own systems for getting them better and better and better. And so I'm killing two birds with one stone by fulfilling for these people, but also by learning more about my own system. And I think it's a great business model. And you have to start, of course, being able to actually get results, which I am not able to do right now. I know a lot more than many people about YouTube, but not enough to charge high ticket for. So if we want to look at it in a linear process of how this series is going to go, it's going to start with a lot of boring stuff, with me doing a lot of research and learning. And so this is me documenting a lot of learning. And then we'll get to the point where I've learned enough that I start doing outreach, and that's when these videos will start to be a lot more tedious. And so it'll be very much like, I spent 5 hours reaching out to people today, or it was a 12-hour day. And so it's going to turn from learning and insight into pure volume. And so these videos are essentially just going to be about how many hours I can work in a day. And that'll be the hard part. And then eventually we'll get to the enjoyable part where I can share my knowledge and learnings from the actual business side of things instead of the personal growth and learning side of things. And so we're in that first stage where I'm essentially just sharing my own personal growth and what I'm learning. We'll get into the boring stage where I'm essentially just like, I work 12 hours today, I'm tired and I want to go to bed. And then we'll eventually get to, I have clients, here's what I'm doing to get better at it. I'm scaling, here's what you can do, here's what I've learned from business, not necessarily personally. And then we scale up until we hit the big mill mark, and then I disappear. Not actually. But yeah, so that's kind of like a decent timeline for things. And so that's the plan right now. So for now, don't really have anything going, don't have any clients, just in the phase of actually getting good at what I do. And so I'm looking a lot into YouTube SEO, and one interesting insight that I found for anybody who does anything with YouTube is with Google, who owns YouTube, Gemini getting more advanced, YouTube's recommending system is also getting more advanced because they're now able to use the AI to transcribe the videos and look at the visuals. And so instead of the algorithm being about the audience retention and the thumbnail, like a click-through rate, it's going to be also about just what people like the lighting in the videos, like the topics of videos, the people who are in the videos. And so the AI is actually going to be able to determine what is in the videos, both speech, like when I'm talking, and the visuals for the video, and then recommend it to people based on that. And so personalization is going to go a lot higher, which means that the business that I'm trying to run is going to pop very nicely. And that is because the whole idea is that my business is targeted around a specific group of people, hyper specified to be warm leads. And so I'm not targeting broad people to get as many views as possible. I'm targeting a very specific group of people. And so my SEO, or search engine optimization, which is basically when somebody looks something up, I'm the one that they see instead of somebody else. So basically being the top search result, that's what the most of the business is going to be about. And with YouTube being more specific about what it recommends to people based on what's in the videos, that allows me even more variables to manipulate in order to get recommended to people. And so I'm excited to get into that because it's new, meaning that nobody necessarily has an advantage yet. And so I'm able to get a competitive advantage if I jump on that soon enough. And so the coming days are going to essentially just be me spending a lot of time researching and getting into the weeds. One interesting thing that I found out about is just the idea that like less is more for humans. And in YouTube script writing, which I'm one of those people that is rather honest, and I don't enjoy any form of manipulation. I like truth and value, and that's, if I could summarize what I stand for in 2 words, it's truth and value. And so a lot of people write super highly edited YouTube videos with these scripts that are meant to cause people pain and manipulate them in order to buy. And while their product might be okay, most of the time it's not. There's 2 ways you can get people to keep watching your video, and it's either by manipulation or from value. And so you can kind of choose which path. It's like the light side or the dark side. And so you can choose the dark side to go with manipulation and human psychology, which is always going to be a little bit part of it, especially human psychology, a little bit less on the manipulation side of things. Like, it's not going to be necessarily about, oh, you need to hook them and you need to create open loops so that they feel psychologically unrested if you don't close the loops, so they're going to keep watching the videos, and you need to assert some sort of confidence so it makes it seem like you know what you're doing. And it's like, you can go deep into the weeds on that, or the first 15 seconds of the video, you can hook them by, instead of doing psychological manipulation, you can just provide so much value to a problem that they're having that they realize that no matter the quality of the video or the quality of editing, that it's worth their time to stay. And so that's exactly what I'm doing. These videos are a great example. I'm putting essentially no effort into them, but even right now, they're not necessarily well done. And I'm only a week or 2 in, and so they're going to get better and better and better as I get more and more of an idea of what you guys want to see. And of course, I'll be more structured, I'll be more concise, and they'll be more value packed. Like, a lot of this is me rambling, but over time I will become more concise and more articulate, and it will just be pure value. And that is the entire goal, is to replace manipulative tactics with pure value, because that's what it'll all come back to. Because people, the smarter they get, will hate manipulative tactics more and more and more, but nobody hates value because it's right and it's truthful, and that's what I like. And so that's kind of what the brand's standing on, is just, instead of researching into how do I hit people's psychology in the perfect way that makes them feel like they need me, and more of how can I demonstrate premium and value and truth the most to make people want to watch my videos the most. And then I don't have to worry about retention hacks. Like, for thumbnails is a great example. I don't need to have 17 variables. I can just have one thing that's so clear and is presented in such a simple way that people believe that it's premium and valuable. And so then they start the video, and instead of hooking them with some sort of watch till the end of the video and you'll get this, or some form of manipulation or psychology hack, it's just straight to the point value, and they know that it's worth watching. And so it takes a lot of stress off of my shoulders, because I can actually just be me and be a good person, and it has the same effect as people putting hours into script writing and human psychology and manipulation for sales, and it's great. So that's kind of the whole reason why the business is called Value First, because that's what we're going off of. And it's nice because it's always been hard to want to do business. Well, so many people can lie and do it unethically and make money, but I don't want to do that. But yeah, this was one of those videos where I ramble, but I hope that you got some sort of nugget of something out of here. But today's for myself to stay consistent. But it is really cold outside. Where I live, it's usually hot, but it's actually getting cold, so I'm kind of freezing. But I will see you guys tomorrow, and if you've made it this far, please comment what you want to see from me, because I have no way to make better videos for you guys without knowing what you guys want. And I can only assume by putting myself in your shoes and ask what I would have wanted to see where I am right now. And that's what these videos are supposed to be about. And so if I can do a better job at being more concise, or covering topics that are more like jaded and less talked about, things that are uncertain and things that people never talk about that people want to hear about, I would be happy to cover those. And so if you could, for the 3 people who made it to the end of this video, comment that. But I hope you have a great night, and remember that you're always your greatest investment, because it'll pay off in the end.